Hello composers, Mike here, and you are watching Studio Time with Mike, where I will show you behind the scenes as I do creative work here in my studio. In this episode, I will show you as I write emotional music. So let's get started right now. Let's compose music. Record epic ideas. Let's sound design. Play with new sounds. Let's be creative. Alright composers, prepare your coffee and let's get ready to watch the entire episode. I want to start out by explaining the kind of process and workflow I have for composing music with intention, meaning having a set theme in mind, for example, composing for a client, for a specific mood or style. I find that it is really valuable to first define your kind of end result. What music will you create and what is the purpose for it, which I call defining the mission. And then you come up with your creative vision as a composer. So let me start with step one first. Alright, so step one is to define the mission, meaning what really is the end purpose of the music I am going to create. So basically, if you have a client that gives you instructions for your music composition, that's great. But in this case, even if you don't have a client, in this case, I came up with the project mission. So I have a kind of agenda here already. The style is going to be emotional music. The scene I imagine this for is called The Beauty of Mother Earth. And I also have some keywords to describe the character and mood the music should have, which are grand, thoughtful, noble, lush, and beautiful. So I imagine visuals when I create this piece to be the grand beauty of our dear planet, with lots of aerial footage of landscapes, nature, animals in the wild, oceans, space footage of Earth, etc. Really capturing that beautiful essence of our planet and also the grand and noble aspect of nature and so on. So that is step one. We have defined the mission. Step two is to create the vision, meaning I've already got the instructions from the client, even if it was myself. So step two is me as a composer. What is my creative vision that will go with this mission? So I have like a couple of different bullet points that I try to always get down first before I start with the actual music composition process. So first, the tempo. I feel that this should be a very slow tempo. I think around 70 BPM or so to really capture that grand and noble, and our planet is a big place, so, and everything goes in. I imagine the visuals will be lots of slow motion footage and so on. The rhythm I want to keep in common time 4/4 because it is really the steady rotation of Earth and so on. Everything is at its like straight pace. And I think I'm going to write this in a minor key, perhaps with some modulation, but I really want that super expressive and emotional tone. And the action level, meaning how much rhythm and energy, well, it's going to be really low. Not as low as 0 and 1, which I say is ambient, relaxing music or underscores, but perhaps 2 or 3 out of 10 for action level. So very, very slow, calm piece. And finally, I always want to have some general idea of the kind of instruments and sounds I'm going to use. So I think I'm mainly going to focus on strings, pads, and ambient sounds for this specific composition. Alright, so let's go ahead to step 3, which is the sketching process. Alright, so now the fun begins, but keep in mind, I recommend at least that you always first define your mission and second, create your vision before you start even playing one single note. So in the sketching stage, I like to use the golden combination, as I call it, which is piano stacked or layered with strings. Often the piano will be in more focus, at least for me, like so, and then you can hear the strings if I hold down, and if I play soft notes, the strings come through even more. So I have already started to create an idea here. I'm going to go with A minor. So I'm going to start with the A minor chord, of course. Then I'm going to go to F major. And then to C. And this is the interesting part. Most people will hear that you go to G. So, like a circle. You've heard that a million times, but I'm going to introduce a modulation here to spice it up and also add that noble character, because if you want that grand and noble vibe, you really should try to use some more major chords. I'm going to modulate it to E major there. So listen to the difference here. Then to C. Now to E major. And then back to A minor. And then I think I'm gonna go to F, but I'm gonna spice it up further by adding this note, the E here, which makes this it's a F major 7. So I'm going to go from A minor, F major 7, and then I'm gonna go with a passing chord, which is F6, so F6, A minor, what was it? A minor, F major 7, F6, and then let's see. When you want to try to find what chord to do next, I often do like this, like I'm holding F6 here, but it's always the highest note that really defines like the melodic aspect of chords. That's why you can use like 7th chords, for example, to spice it up and color, but you really hear this E in this case. So F or A minor, F major 7, F major 7, F6, then release the chord and try where one do you want to go melodic wise with this voice, the D. Let's see, so perhaps a G there, so what can we do chord wise? Well, A minor, F7, F major 7, F6. We could go to G, I think. Again, going to major there, so let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to go back to... So I'm going to go to C, probably. And then C another inversion. And then I'm going to do the modulation to E again. And then I'm going to go up an octave to really add that when you want to lift the energy, transpose upwards, go take your story up. Let's see if I can go now. C, perhaps. Let's see what we're gonna do this time when we are up here. A minor, perhaps F. And then for noble and grand vibe, I love using suspended chords, which are, if you play the root note, you can do suspended fourth, which is going up from the third to the fourth, or suspended second, which takes the third to the second here. So this is C sus4, this is C sus2. It really wants to resolve, but it is neither happy nor sad. It is basically, it longs to resolve to the consonant chord here. So where were we? We're at, and let's see, we have perhaps F. Let's see, A minor, F major 7, C, basically what I played down here, and then I went to E, but this time I'm gonna do the ordinary way, which is go to G there. So but I'm gonna go to the suspended just to add that noble sense. So G sus4, G. So we have, let's play this before we go into the DAW. So we have A minor, F, C, E, and then A minor, F major 7, F6. What was it then? C, yeah. And then modulation to E. And then up. I think I'm gonna go with the suspended here too. Oh, this is cool. It's not even the classical suspended. It's like, what were we? A minor, and then if I have this, but I add that. What is this chord? It's like, I should call it, it's like F. This is F. If I add that, it's like suspended. I'm not sure. In Logic it says F sharp with a sharp 11. I'm not agreeing with that, but then going down to F. So we have. Oh, I love that feeling. And then suspended again. C sus4. G. F. F. G sus4. And then back to A minor. Alright, so here I am in Logic now, and the first thing I like to do when composing new music is to create a chord track on top of the sequencer and record basically the harmonic storyline. So I do this for every section, and I believe this section here was what I played for you just in the sketching session on my piano. I added these two and these in the end. So in the beginning, I wanted to have a different progression, which has more of an introduction feel. And I actually opted to start for a C6 chord. So let's go into the MIDI piano roll here so you can see everything. And I will play you at least a bit from the final chord progression, which sounds like this. right, I will stop there because it repeats these two here, and then we have the ending, which goes up. Let's listen from here. Right here. And a bit of a surprise in the cadence there, but really going to the grand major feel, also opening up the chord. I like to do that in the bigger parts. And you can see I actually play this in with my MIDI keyboard when I recorded it, and then I joined some of the chords. At least here in the start, I did so more in the actual composition, but here I wanted like a pedal chord, basically lying here and then changing the chord by changing the root note in the bass. And I often do it like this, that I record the chord progression in sections, which could be, sometimes I separate the chords by completely like so. In this case, I opted for 4-bar sections, so I can name the chord simply Shift N and then name the region by the chord progression. So those are the chords. Now let me show you the complete composition. If I extend these, the bass, the backing parts, and the theme. So what I did was that I first copied the entire chord progression and laid it out on the string ensemble here. And here I have actually, as you can see the lines here, I've recorded lots of CC expression, modulation, and so on. If you go into here, you can see like so, and also here, to add that so important movement. I also purposely chose to remove the bass note from the string ensemble here, basically all of these, because I actually like having the bass separated here in its own folder. So I have an electric bass, a low pad, and a string bass. But this is the chord progression again. So then I separated it into individual voices for the cellos, violas, and violins. In the case of, I believe, violins is only legato monophonic, meaning one note at a time, whereas the violas play some two-part harmonies here, mostly, and so does mainly solo notes on the cello. All right, so then for the theme, I actually recorded that manually again with my MIDI keyboard while listening back to the chord progression. And I opted for cellos with violins in octaves, stacked in harp on top of it. Like if you listen to first, here's the cellos. Then if I add the violins, let's see. Then I just want to add some light pluck to add that airy sense of when I thought of the wind and the sky. And you barely hear, it's like a light pluck in the background. Just that little hint. Because often in music, having some things way in the background simply adds some character without grabbing the listener's attention, so it's more subconscious. Which is also the case if you check here the backing, the harmonic folder here. I made a drone here, which is a note in A throughout the entire composition, except the last two bars, because I went to C as the cadence. So I changed it to, I split it and changed this to C. So, and then I simply, if I bring out the EQ here, you can see I did some heavy EQing to get rid of the bass, actually boosted the low mids. I just wanted to have that low, airy low note, if you can say like that. Which it's basically the only menacing part of all of this. The reason I included a drone on the same note throughout was this track is called The Beauty of Mother Earth, and is supposed to show the grandness of our planet. And I thought about like the Earth is spinning around its own axis, around and around all the time, like this drone stays the same. All right, so then I also added a flute, which I used my breath controller to record. Solo flute, by the way. So with the lead melody, this harmony. Because I wanted to, with a solo flute, to add that gentle, intimate character. So nature is intimate and beautiful, but it also is a strong force, like the spinning Earth on its axis. It's pretty hard to stop that. Right, so, and then for the bass parts here, I used an electric bass, and I opted for a very slow, not a pulsing bass line, but mainly long one-bar chords, sometimes a walking bass. Right, like so, just to add that grand factor again, and the low pad. Also with a low string. So all together, this sounds very, very powerful and authoritative in the bass. All right, so all together, yeah, I also added drums here, by the way, just subtle drums with heavy reverb. So in the chorus part, if you can call it that, I just wanted to add some slight drive to the track because, well, it's basically 70 BPM, but I'm also going to show you, if I bring out the global tracks, that I've automated the tempo to add that movement again, motion, especially in the end here where so I made it in arcs, wee, and then finally diving down for the cadence to hold that resolution. Right, so let's check it out in the piano roll editor with everything playing so you can see it all in action, actually. Let's see. Can I do this? Please. Like so. Let's see if you can listen to this and watch the piano roll at the same time. Sorry for the pops and crackles. My computer is struggling recording this in full retina resolution with my voiceover at the same time as playing back the project. And the reason is because I somehow forgot to freeze the tracks, which I usually do. So that's a recommendation for you. Freeze your tracks after you completed them. Also, the final thing I want to show you is the track here on top. Let's see if I can bring out like so. The tempo track, I already showed you that. Let's get back. I wanted to show you this, master. I actually created a fader for the master output in order for me to do, if I press A to bring up the automation, to do this, a final fade down, because I didn't believe it was enough with the expression fade outs. I wanted to hard code a fade out here with the master fader output. Right, so that's it, guys. That is my entire track. It's up on SoundCloud, so you can check the link in the video description and go there and subscribe to my SoundCloud if you want to. Give it a like, whatever. And I'll see you soon again. Subscribe now and watch a lot more videos on composing music, producing music, sound design, Logic Pro X and much more. I'll see you in the next video, my friends.